Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. Hi.
What's up?
I like your jacket.
Hey, thanks.
I meant to tell you that earlier.
Hey,
so I
thanks.
didn't have to compliment you publicly.
Yeah,
And then
now
I
you've
forgot
made
until I looked at
Now
you.
you've made a terrible error. That's right. Hello, everybody. Welcome on to the pre-show before the free show, where Pickle has called for the ball. Pickle.
Yeah, I thought of something.
Pickle came in and she.
ISO.
Yeah, she was. She just held up the one finger. I'll let you guess which finger it was. Okay, it wasn't that one. And wanted to play. So here we go. Here with the pre-show topic is Ashley Pickle.
Well, when
Ashley?
No. Sorry. I killed your vibe there, I guess.
Take it away.
Goodness, stop it. When I got on Facebook to pull up our stream, I realized that there are two different types of families. Did y'all ever vacation around the holidays?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay, because I've noticed there are half the population that they stay at home and they do holidays at home, and I feel like there's the other half of the population, and there's nothing wrong with it, that they go to Colorado for the mountains and they go skiing or that type of thing. We never did that. We were always homebodies.
It was always, if we were not home, we were at the home of a
Family member,
right?
yeah.
So maybe we go to grandma's house for Christmas or something like that, but that would be as exotic as we get. But I do know what you're talking about. There are definitely people who are like, where are we going for Christmas this year? And I'm like, oh, well, I mean, normally I'll be on my couch.
Yeah, and some people not everyone goes to the ski snow. Some people want the white Christmas, so they'll go to Colorado, Utah, anywhere kind of over there in the Midwest that it snows. Or there are people that go to the beach. They're like, we're going to Mexico for Christmas,
We did that for New Year's once.
Okay.
We went to Mexico as a family for New Year's once, which was cool. Different. I don't know if I loved it.
Yeah. And see here, that was kind of my question to you. I feel like personally, and maybe it's just because we never did it. We always did summer vacations. That's what we have. That's what we did forever. My mom was a teacher, so it worked out easier that way. It just it was nice. And we're big beach people, so that helped too.
You are beach people.
Oh, yeah. Anything with water is but it makes me wonder, I just feel like that would make a vacation even more stressful because you've got everyone else traveling for holidays, trying to get back home and stuff. So I feel like traveling's worse. I feel like a lot of stuff is closed around Christmas that you couldn't really do.
Here's the other thing about this, okay? Let's just, if you're going to go travel, let's just say you're going to go to Colorado or you're going to go to the beach or you're going to do something. Don't you have to bring all the gifts?
Yeah, that was my thing.
Feels like a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I don't want to work.
And maybe that's the way out of
Generally.
it. Maybe parents at that point, especially if the kids are older, say here is your Christmas gift.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm big summer vacation fan, and let the holidays be the holidays.
Well, it just really comes down to this for me. When it's cold, I want to be in my house, and when it's warm, I don't want to be in my house.
Yes.
That's kind of
that's
that. Probably how I'm wired, but I know we've talked about skiing before. I don't ever want to go skiing again. Nope. I've done it. It is very expensive.
It is extremely
It seems like
expensive.
the bang to hype ratio for that is so out of whack.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's you've got to be
and you can die
well,
or be seriously injured.
You can die doing a lot of things.
Not gonna die doing this internet show. Oh, that'd be
God!
Sign my
You just
death
put
warrant.
the looming
That's it.
Eeyore cloud over
All
us.
I'm saying is that this is the skiing and snowboarding feels like a lot of downside and not enough upside for me.
Okay.
Like the cost, the travel,
Yeah.
all the equipment.
Well, and I was terrible at it because I was really
pizza.
I grew up
pizza.
I grew up water skiing, and in water skiing you have to lean back. In snow skiing you have to lean forward. So I get skis on me. I lean back. I fall on my butt the whole time. It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
I'm much more water ski.
I'll just blow up your spot here. You have very long legs.
Yeah.
And having long legs feels like a downside for
I
skiing.
look like a baby deer out there,
Yeah.
That's what baby deer look like, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, what a weird impression
or a
of
baby giraffe.
Deer. That to me,
No, I can
don't know.
shred on the water skis.
But that's kind of where I'm at, is that when it's cold, I want to hunker down. I want to be in my house. Now, again, or I want to be at least around family. I don't want to be at I don't want to be somewhere I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, my biggest thing is I feel like unless I get to a point in my life where I have to fly home for Christmas, I want to avoid Christmas travel as much as possible. Even heading back home on 281, that starts getting, it starts getting to the point of it's like, okay, I've got to leave like a day early so I miss that Christmas crowd.
Yeah, I'm picking up my father-in-law at the airport on Thursday night, and
Chaotic.
That's going to be too much like travel infrastructure for me.
Yeah,
and
all you're doing is picking him up.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with people that do that. I was just curious on your take,
No,
and I think it's just because we never did it.
Well,
Maybe
yeah.
I would love it, but I don't think that I would.
I feel like I'm more of a homebody when it comes to the holidays.
Yeah, me
homebody
too.
for the holidays.
Homebody for the holidays.
Hit the theme expo. Pickle. Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a program on the internet today, but maybe not tomorrow. My name's Greg
Definitely
Tepper.
not tomorrow.
I'm the managing editor. You don't know that. Maybe I'll come in here and do a solo show.
That's fine with me. Have fun.
I'm not going to come in here and do a solo show. My name's Greg
dare
Tepper.
you.
I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas. Yeah, you're calling my bluff.
Yeah.
Managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on texasfootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. And yes, she's wearing makeup. She can do that.
Everyone in the comments is like blowing up because I did the bare minimum.
It really is funny because I think I've told this story before, but like Kendall Point, who used to work with us, there was one day where I think she had to. Sadly, she had to go to a funeral.
She did.
She had to go to a funeral.
And your big mouth walks in.
And I walked in, so she's dressed very nicely. But and I was like, whoa, look at you.
Yeah.
And it's like, because everybody here dresses very casual.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like literally all I did different was throw on a little coat of lipstick, and everyone's like, whoa.
I know.
Whoa.
What a life you've led, though.
I know. That's great. That all I have to do is put on lipstick, and people are like, whoa, she dressed up for the day. Like, I set myself. This is, I'm playing the long con here.
This is pretty good.
Hi, friends.
Today's Tuesday, December 24th.
It is. Please tell me it's not the 24th.
Today is Tuesday, December 21st, 2021.
It's like I'm late for family Christmas.
338 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Samuel L. Jackson. Episode 1302. On today's show, guys, we got a rare double guest day.
Let's go.
We got two guests, two big name guests.
Twofer.
First, we're going to talk with the head coach of the state champion Franklin Lions. Coach Mark Fannin will join us. We'll talk a little bit about those Lions who go wire to wire number one. Yesterday we talked with Todd Dodge. He is the only other coach of a team that went wire to wire number one. Mm-hmm. So you can roast our rankings if you'd like. We only had two teams go wire to wire number one. But we'll talk with the second of those in Mark Fannin, the head coach of those 3A Division II state champion Franklin Lions, coming up here in a moment. In the back half of the show, we'll be joined by the Hall of Famer Craig Way, who called 17 of the 12 Texas high school football state championship games and somehow didn't lose his voice like a dummy.
Yeah, who in the world would do that, scrub?
Anyway, we'll get to all that coming up here at the back half of and then a very special Christmas message. So we'll get all that coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Rob Hadaway, Aaron Arbuckle, Daniel Agnew, and Ryan Smigo. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, fellas, to, again, programming note. This is the last show of the week. And then next week, we will be back on Monday. So make sure you tune in for that. But we are off for the rest of the week after today. Want to invite you to check out TexasFootball.com. A lot of good stuff going on up there. Subscribers should start getting their recruiting edition. I don't have one. Is this it? No, it's the old one. The recruiting edition. I promise you it exists. Subscribers should be starting to get it right now. So TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. And it makes a great gift as well. If you need that last-second gift for Christmas, TexasFootball.com/subscribe. We've made it really good. So for the really easy to good too, but really easy to
We've made it good.
Gift,
what we do here is good.
to gift a subscription if you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. If you do all of that. Pickle, let's go to the hotline. And let's bring in the head coach of the 3A Division II state champion Franklin Lions, their first ever state championship. We're joined on the phone line by Coach Mark Fannin. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
How are things in beautiful Franklin, Texas these days?
Yeah, it's awesome right now.
How overall, how was your weekend? Pretty good?
It was a pretty good weekend. It was a lot better than last year at this time. I'll tell you that. So
I want to go back to Thursday night. We knew it was number 1 versus number 2, Franklin versus Gunner, for the 3A Division II state championship. And what I think is really interesting from my perspective is two obviously outstanding ball clubs and two teams that are so good in it, like at kind of at everything, that I didn't really know what style of game this is going to be. I could have seen this being a low-scoring slugfest. I could have seen this being a high-scoring shootout. Did the way that this game played out surprise you, or was this what you expected?
It did not surprise me at all. You know, we knew going in that this was going to be a really good ball game, and we were kind of thinking the same thing. You know, we didn't know if it was going to be with us being both we scored a lot of points this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we stopped our defense. Both teams have played lights out all year. We didn't know how the score was going to be. You know, we kind of talked about that in the office. It could be a blowout. Or it could be not a blowout, but a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game. You know, it's kind of up in the air. And, we were just excited. Gunner's a very good football team, like you said. They do things right over there. And those kids play hard. They play class act football, which is always good to play against. And, we're fortunate enough to come out on top. For dang sure.
And this game is, knotted up at halftime. You guys are you're tight at halftime. You guys are throwing haymakers at one another. What did you tell your guys at halftime, knowing that, as expected, you guys are in a dogfight? They are going to the final 24 minutes of the game. What was your message to your guys at halftime?
We made a few adjustments defensively. Offensively, we felt that we were moving the ball okay, and doing what we were supposed to do. We just had to, we had some penalties we had to take care of, and some turnovers we definitely, talked about. But just limiting penalties and limiting those turnovers, we thought we were doing what we wanted to do offensively. We just had to stop, get rid of those couple things, and I just told them at halftime to stay the course, keep doing what you're doing. We made a few small adjustments on the back end, with our defense. But other than that, I told them it was going to be a dogfight to the end, and, just go out there, have fun and experience it, and leave everything they had out there.
Sticking to the plan seemed to be a steady dose of Malcolm Murphy, who runs for 287, 4 touchdowns, had 2 interceptions, just a remarkable game. He was maybe I don't want to say he was the overlooked guy in your backfield, but there were certainly guys like Bryson Washington. You guys are so loaded back there. It kind of felt like Malcolm Murphy at sometimes could have been overlooked there in your talented backfield. But when the lights shone the brightest, he showed up the biggest. I can't imagine it was a surprise for you that he saved his biggest performance for last.
Malcolm is a special athlete. He's been a special athlete for me he started for me as a freshman, and he's had a great year, a career here in Franklin. And he's, we've just been very fortunate here in Franklin this year and last year with very many backs that, that could really, anytime they touched the ball, they could score, or make something happen. And with Bryson and Bobby and Malcolm in the backfield, you just never knew which one was going to show up. It was kind of you just didn't know who was going to show out, because all of them are capable of doing it. And I'm so happy that Malcolm went out like that his senior year and showed out on the biggest stage. And, he's kind of one of those guys, he's he likes to play in front of people, and when the lights are on, he's more electric, and he likes the big stage for sure.
Talking with Mark Fannin, the head coach of the Franklin Lions here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. Coach, it wasn't all good. Marcus Wade goes 0 for 3 for no yards passing. How troubled are you by your passing attack? And just, boy, it's tough. You guys aren't able to throw the ball at all. I'm joking, of course. But you guys are the first team to win a UIL state championship game at the 11-man level since 2007 when throwing for no yards. I guess if the bread and butter is working, you just stick with it, running for 523. Did you see that coming? Did you see that gaudy of numbers coming before the game?
I really didn't. Marcus has been a very good piece to what we've done this year. I don't think we've even made it to the state championship game without him. Having his passing attack, he's done an outstanding job this year. Instead of getting 11 men in the box, we were able to spread it out a little bit and throw the ball. I think he ended up with almost 1,200 yards passing and this year, which it might be a school record. I'm not 100% on that, but and 20 touchdowns. He threw for 20 touchdowns and 1,200 yards. So, without him, I don't know if we make it to that game. But, we got in kind of the game, in the routine of the game on last Thursday, and running the ball was working. And we've always said we're going to do what we do, and we're going to find what works, and we're going to stick with it until they stop it. So that's kind of what we did.
This game is tied going into the fourth quarter, and I can't help but feel like the path that you walked, especially in the season opening win over Lorena and your state semifinal win against Wascom, where you guys had to work, you guys had to sweat. There were a lot of blowouts in between, but those first and last games really had you guys prepped for a fourth quarter. Did you feel like when you guys got to that fourth quarter that you were going to have an opportunity to have a little bit extra in the tank?
I did. We were blessed, to beat a Wascom team in the semifinal game. Mm-hmm. And I was very happy that we had to come through and fight through some adversity in that semifinal game. I was worried about that all year long because we really didn't have to fight it, since week one, since Lorena, and all the way to that semifinal game, we really had no adversity that we had to overcome. And in that semifinal game, we had to overcome adversity situations, and we overcame each and every one of them. And going into that state championship game, I was excited that we had to face that, and I think that helped us out. Going into the fourth quarter, the kids believed. The kids stayed with it and trusted everything that us coaches were telling them, and they went out there and fought and left everything out there, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
I want to ask you a question that I know you're going to lie to me about, so it's fine. I get it. Which is when you started feeling like this was going to happen, because Franklin, of course, last year, what was such a heart-wrenching loss to Canadian. And I know coaches will say, "Oh, I didn't feel it until it was triple zeros on the board." You can tell me that if you'd like. I'll know it's a lie. But my question is, was there a moment in the game where you kind of looked up and you go, this really might happen? Like, we really might be doing this right now?
Well, like you said, it was a great ball game for 3.5 quarters. And, when we could never go ahead for about 14, with the whole game, we would score. And like you said, it was a slugfest. We'd punch them in the mouth and they'd punch us right back in 2-3 plays. We could never get that 14-point edge until about 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And when we did that, I didn't want to say I felt good because I know there was a lot of time left, and Gunner has such an explosive offense they could go anytime. But I kind of when we scored that touchdown to go 14, and we come back out and played defense and made a stop, and then we got the ball back, and I was kind of feeling good at that point. But I ain't gonna lie, until that when we were in that victory formation, I was kind of locked in, and until we could celebrate, because you never know in a football game what could happen.
Well, and I'll tell you, it was a long time coming. You could feel the frustration kind of washing past that crowd that you guys brought out there. It was, I think I don't know how many people are in Franklin, Texas, but I know they were all there. That was a fantastic crowd you guys brought out there.
Yes, the fans, the community here in Franklin, Texas, they backed this football program for a long time, and in this year they've really come out and they've come to all the home games. They traveled well with all the away games, and especially the playoff games. And it as a coach, I could not be more excited because it's been a long time waiting for Franklin to bring home this first state championship. We've been so close so many times. We've had so many good football teams here in Franklin that just it was heartbreaking at the end, and so many years I could talk about. But and these fans have been so loyal and trusted us coaches to stay the process and keep working with these kids and not just only bringing that state championship home for these kids, but this school and this community. I don't know when I'll stop smiling. I've been smiling ever since Thursday, and it's a good feeling, and I couldn't be more proud to bring it home for them.
And finally, Coach, the last time I interviewed you in any sort of official setting was back at THSCA Coaching School and Convention, and I asked you about being ranked number 1. And if you were mad at me for ranking you number 1, you had a very diplomatic answer and said, I don't pay a ton of attention to it. I ain't that mad at you. My question for you now is, where would you like to be ranked for 2022?
Well, we handled that number 1 spot pretty good. So, I won't be mad at you if you put us up there again. So,
well, you made us look.
Our kids handled that. It takes a special group of kids to handle that, because that's all they're looking at. And I talk to them till I'm blue in the face about week by week mentality, and it's target on your back, and and these kids handle that very well, and I couldn't be more proud of them for sure.
Well, we sure appreciate you making us look smart. He is Mark Fannin. He's the head coach of those state champion Franklin Lions. Coach, congratulations again. We're thrilled for you. I know it'll be a Merry Christmas, but just in case it's not, Merry Christmas, my friend.
Hey, man, Merry Christmas to you guys also, and we appreciate what y'all do for high school football.
Absolutely. Take care, Coach.
Thank you.
There he goes, Mark Fannin, the head coach, the Franklin Lions. First ever state championship brought home to the Brazos Valley, and just super cool. You felt it really he belies the fact that this is. I mean, Franklin really did have an argument to being one of the best programs without a state championship.
Yeah.
They had their guts ripped out a lot. Obviously against Canadian, they had that, but I mean, you're looking at teams that were routinely, I mean, they lose to Wascom in the title game back in 2015. I mean, they're making it to quarterfinals and this, that, and the other. They made a semifinal back in 1972. They made a semifinal back in 1978. Like, they had some really good teams that couldn't get over the hump. And so I was really interested to hear when he thought it was going to happen, because they've had their guts ripped out.
Right.
Like last year against Canadian, they had it. They were up in the final minute, and then like a long touchdown. And so I'm glad he said, like, when we went up 14, it's like, oh man, like we really might do it. Like,
right,
I think we're favored to do it right now.
Well, and that was the thing. I was obviously able to go see their semifinal game against Wascom, and afterwards, the relief that they got there was on their face. But there was nothing but determination that you could see in not only the coaching staff, but all the players, too. It was like, we are not going to let this slip away again this time.
No. And it was really fun to watch, and Coach is a Coach is good people, and they did. He mentioned that he handled the number 1 spot pretty well. They handled it well. That there were, they had that target on their chest all year long, and they lived up to the hype. They're the 4th highest scoring team in UIL Texas high school football 11-man history, and I think they're going to be in that. They're in a conversation for all-time 3A teams, right?
Yeah.
All-time 3A teams. They're in that conversation of what they were able to do and how they were able to do it. A remarkable year for the Franklin Lions. They bring home their first ever state championship. We appreciate Mark Fannin hopping on with us. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hey, just because the high school football season is over doesn't mean TexasFootball.com shuts down or anything. We're going to have good coverage for you all throughout the offseason. And, of course, we've still got college coverage going on with the bowl games. I believe UTSA plays tonight. So make sure you check that out. TexasFootball.com will have coverage of all things football in the state of Texas. So make sure you check that out. And become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. Makes a great gift. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Make sure you go there. Pickles flirting with Craig Way. I just accuse you of flirting with Craig Way.
It happens.
Yeah, I know. He's charming.
He is.
Pickle, let's go to the hotline. Let's bring in the Hall of Fame voice of the Texas Longhorns, of Texas high school football. As I mentioned, he called 17 of the 12 UIL Texas high school football state championship games this past week.
Math checks out.
We go live to our good friend, Craig Way. Craig, how are you, my friend?
It was my understanding there was to be no math on this. But I will tell you, I have to ask Pickle if Pickle, for you and Mallory and Amanda and Step and the entire rest of the crew, was it like a holiday when Tepper had no voice for a bit and now is the holiday rudely over? Is that the deal?
Boy, howdy, let me tell you. When he tweeted out about how happy Miss Jen was that he didn't have a voice, I was like, we were all singing hallelujah there.
Wondered about that, but I had his dulcet tones on my show this morning. Sounds like things are back to normal, Tap.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they are, Craig. Thanks for bringing that up. It's Craig Way, our friend here on the show. Okay. I've had this question kicking around in my head all weekend, and I want to put it to you. For me, the way that I have Texas high school football shorthand in my head, and I think you do too, that when you say 2017 title games, I think, oh, that was the Highland Park Manville year. 2018 title games, I go, oh, it was North Shore Duncanville, and that was Longview Highland Park, or Longview and Beaumont Westbrook. There's shorthands for each year. Have you figured out quite yet what the shorthand title game is going to be for 2021? What is the game that when people say, hey, you remember back those title games in 2021, you're going to say, oh, that was the blank game. Have you quite figured out which one of those is going to stick in your brain the best?
Well, I would say this, Chap. There are two games that would come to my mind only because of the thought I had about each going into the game and the way they ultimately played out, and because they were two of the, as you called, 17 games that I was calling, whatever, were the Franklin Gutter game in 3AD2 and the Pato College Station 5AD1. Having said that, to the specifics of your question, the game that most of the free world that celebrates high school football as we know it in this state is going to remember, this is the year of South Oak Cliff. They're going to remember the dynamics and the dramatics of what happened, I think, with South Oak Cliff. And that doesn't even take into account what Todd Dodge has done to ride off in the sunset with three. It does take it all into account with the 3 consecutive state titles, and he calls it a career and all those things. But I think the historic impact of what Jason Todd did at SOC and his group, that I think is going to be what folks, there may be, some certainly in the Westlake community, others that remember that's when Todd Dodge finished his great run with 3 consecutive state titles to go with the 4 he won at Carroll, Hall of Fame innovator and all of those things. And I'm going to ask him about all those stuff when he comes on my show one final time. But I think at large across the state, I think a lot of folks are going to think about South Oak Cliff breaking through to win the DISD's first UIL state championship since 1950 and their first state football title of any kind going back to the PVIL days in 1958.
You mentioned Westlake, and they were certainly pushed by Geyer in the first half, trailed for the first time all season, as a matter of fact, in this game, but came out and polished off what felt like a pretty tour de force performance from Westlake, capping off what was a pretty remarkable season, 16-0. The numbers, I tweeted them out, but the numbers are pretty staggering. That over the past 3 years, they are 45-1. They've outscored their opponents 2,400 to 392. A ridiculous run. You've seen a lot of really good teams down there in at Westlake and at Lake Travis and in the Austin area. Just focusing in on the Austin area for a moment, does this 2021 Westlake team enter that pantheon of all-time great Austin area high school football teams?
They lead it.
Oh, wow.
It's the best Westlake team I've ever seen. It's the best 6A team I've ever seen down here. It's the best Greater Austin team I've seen down here. The Lake Travis State champions, the drive for 5 was great, but that was at a smaller classification level. And in addition to that, the one they won in 16 was a really good team. There's no question about it. Lake Travis was outstanding. This Westlake team, I think, tops all of them in terms of the total dominance they had on both sides of the football. You know, going into that game, Tep, the one and only curiosity about Westlake was going to be what happened if somebody, had the wherewithal to get them in a firefight. If it happened, how would they respond? Because a lot of great teams have had, teams take them in down into the mosh, and then they can't find their way out of it and struggle. I mean, we saw it happen with Mart. We've seen it happen with other teams in the past. How would they do? Well, we got the answer. They were in a fight. Rodney Webb did as good a job as any coach has done in preparing his team for Westlake. And we talked to him Saturday morning on a call before he said, I said, this has got to be like the easiest thing in the world in terms of playing the underdog role, right? And he said, everybody outside's doing that. He goes, I'm being honest with you, Craig. We don't think that. We think we got a shot at these guys because we have a plan. And we saw the plan, and they stood toe-to-toe with them for better than 2 quarters and held a 21-20 lead. And then the plan after that went down the Mike Tyson route about everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, that kind of thing. And Westlake finally found a way to punch back. So the defense had been there all along. It was just like what Todd Dodge told Sarah Merrifield going into halftime. He said, our defense has played well enough to win this game. We just got to get our offense together. And they did, and Kate Klubnik had a little bit of a sluggish start, got it going, and Jaden Greathouse was spectacular and all that sort of stuff. All of that happened. But the defense set the tone. 9 sacks, and what they did, it's the totality of it, which is why I say Westlake, of all the greater Austin, Central Texas area schools, stands at the top of that list. Now, anybody can make all kinds of arguments about other highest classification performances and how it might be the best of all time, where it ranks and all that, and all of those arguments are very valid and very fair. I just know Westlake's performance will put them into that conversation.
Talking with Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer here on Texas Football Today. You can all follow the conversation, hashtag TF Today. We saw a lot of incredible individual performances out there as well, Craig, both ones recognized by MVPs and not recognized by MVPs. Is there one particular individual performance, one particular name that springs to mind that you're going to be like, man, I remember that guy and what he did on that stage? Because there's your pick of the litter. I feel like you could probably pick out at least one in every game. There's only, I don't know if there's one there's a game that I can't pick on individual. Was there one individual performance that you saw this weekend that you think you're going to take with you in your memory hole?
Well, 2 really come to mind, and you could even make a case certainly for Jaden Greathouse and 7 catches, 236 yards, the 3 over-the-top bombs. But the 2 that really stand out to me are going to be Malcolm Murphy from Franklin, 280 rushing yards, and then Major Bowden from China Spring. What he did, those 2 were kind of one-man wrecking crews, so to speak, for what they did. And you know how it works, because you worked the 2AD1 telecast with me. The way the producers work is we have players that we highlight in the open, and then what we call forward impact players, which are like a second level guys to watch. Malcolm Murphy didn't make either tier on that. Wow. We were talking about the Washington brothers for Franklin, which made sense, and then in the linebacking core as well. So we weren't even talking about Malcolm Murphy, although he was a two-way player and he did stuff on both sides of the football, including interception. But he had the 280 rushing yards, and then most spectacular of all, Ted, the dance he had, after the game. It was just absolutely just remarkable. I was only disappointed that we couldn't get word to Sarah Merrifield in time to see if we could get Malcolm to do that dance when she did the interview with him, because it was fun to watch and he had it down cold. So Malcolm Murphy would top the list for me. Major Bowden right up there with him. Jaden Greathouse did so. What Grayson Rigsby as a freshman, what he did to lead strong to that state championship in six-man. All of those. And the Brooks brothers are the Brooks brothers are the Brooks brothers. I mean, they were all as advertised like we thought they would be. So those were just some of the ones that came to mind.
Two more questions for the Hall of Famer Craig Way before we let him go enjoy his holiday. First and foremost, you on the 2A Division I state championship game, you had the great pleasure of working with one of the up-and-coming sideline reporters in this game. We all know Leslie McCaslin, how great she is. But on the other sideline, you had Ashley Pickle. I'm interested in your assessment of Ashley Pickle, sideline reporter for the 2A Division I state championship game.
Oh, goodness.
I'm lobbying Bally's to make her a permanent part of that
There
thing.
you go.
She's that good. She was spot on. And you know how some reporters are even better because they know the program as well as they know them, because we have some reporters that do a good job, but they might not necessarily know much about the team until they get on the conference call with the coaches. That's not the case with Pickle. She knew Shiner in and out. She'd been there. She'd been in Victoria for the big throwdown with Refugio. She's seen them all season long. All of that stuff emanates through. So that's why, Pickle was lights out. So she belongs.
I agree.
Well, thank you, Craig.
And finally, we for all the celebrations that have gone on recently, whether you're talking about Christmas on the horizon, whether you're talking about the parade going down in South Oak Cliff, there was, I understand, a big party down there Austin way. Let's pull up the thing. I understand there was a birthday party for Sophie, your pup. Tell us about this, what seems like a real wild throwdown going on at the Way household.
Look at that
for
hat.
Sophie.
If you want a big party, invite a miniature schnauzer. And, she was 9 yesterday. It's really interesting. She's very funny. She's very loyal and can be very affectionate. She can also be pretty guarded and territorial to others that come into the house, depending on her mood and things like that. We got her 9 years ago, and it was. I will tell you this. We laugh and joke a lot. There was. On a slightly serious note, that dog, the companionship that dog had given me, helped me through some difficult times when I lost my wife, Laurie, in 2016, excuse me. And there were a couple of years where I'm going home to empty house at night. It's me and the dog, and we can hang out and have a nice walk, and she and play ball in the backyard. She's been a great companion. And so, the party really wasn't my idea. It was more telling Linda and the kids, hey, why don't you come over for dinner tonight? Hey, it's Sophie's birthday. We can celebrate the birthday. Well, my second daughter, who has 2 schnauzers of her own, knew where to go to get the dog food cake. And it's or dog treat cake. It's not made out of dog food. It was a combination of dog-friendly, digestible ingredients, but it wasn't dog food. She brought her 2 schnauzers over. They cut up that little cake, and those 3 just scarfed it down. They wolfed it down, and so we had a great time. Yeah, Sophie turned 9 yesterday, and she's been a great companion. So yeah, it's like, okay, happy birthday to Soph. So yeah, it was party time last night.
Happy birthday, Sophie.
Happy
Way.
birthday, Sophie.
Absolutely. He's Craig Way. He's the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. Hear him on the Horn in Austin every weekday. Although I think you're off like Thursday, Friday, right?
Yeah,
Good.
I got a basketball game tomorrow. I went out Sunday morning to Vegas after our state championship. Called a couple of basketball games there. Got home about 3 a.m. on Monday morning, and then that was yesterday, Monday. That's right. And then there's a basketball game tomorrow to do, and then I'll have a few days off. And Pickle, I think I'm headed to the bowl game for our alma mater. I think I'm gonna go to that
Caw.
Frisco Football Classic and see the Mean Green in action on Thursday afternoon because the weather's supposed to be nice.
Please cheer on the Mean Green for me.
Craig, appreciate
Yeah.
your time as always, my friend. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we will be talking soon.
Hey, listen, just tell the Pickle and the rest of the gang to hold the celebration down a little bit now that you're back in full throat. But in the meantime, I'm glad you're back with it. And Merry Christmas to both of you and the staff, and Happy Holidays, and we'll talk to you down the road.
All right.
Merry Christmas, Craig.
Bye, Craig. There he goes.
See ya.
Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer, joins us every Tuesday here on Texas Football Today.
He doesn't sleep. I'm
He
convinced.
doesn't know. He just flew to Vegas. He told me he was going to Vegas.
Yeah,
was
I
like,
saw his
for
tweet about
funsies,
it.
and he's like, "No, I'm going for work." I'm like, oh, sounds fun. Anyway, he is Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. Joins us every Tuesday. Although it's probably the last Tuesday.
Tuesdays.
Probably the last Tuesday for a
Aw.
while, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we don't usually have
Craig,
him in
you
the
can
off
call
season.
Craig whenever. Like
I
you,
know.
you can if you just want to talk to him about like whatever.
That's true.
I would say we'll probably have him on after realignment.
Yeah.
That'll definitely be a time we'll have him on. Anyway, it's now time for final thoughts, and normally we give this over to Pickle, but Pickle doesn't get it this time.
Okay.
Instead,
News to me.
it's mine. So this is my last show for a while. We don't have a show for the rest of the week, and then I am going to take some paternity leave. I'm going to go home and hang out with Max and Hank and hang out with the family for a little bit because I've been kind of an absentee father recently.
Yeah.
And so,
Football kinda
so
got
I'm
in the
gonna
way.
be back after a bit, but I'm gonna take a little bit of time off. But the Christmas time for me and the holiday time is a time where one of the things I want to express is gratitude. I think that's really important. It's important to tell the people that you appreciate them. And so I'm going to take an opportunity to do that. And you can't turn me off, Pickle, because I already glued the buttons up. Can't turn them off. First and foremost, I want to thank all the people who read and listen and watch us and consume our content. We literally would not do it without you.
Mm-hmm.
We quite literally wouldn't. Like, we have better things to do than do this for nobody. And so we certainly appreciate you clicking on TexasFootball.com and reading what we have to do and reading the magazine and subscribing and listening to this dumb podcast and watching this dumb internet show. Like, we appreciate it. We really, really do. We need to tell you that more often, but we genuinely do. Our operations staff here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football is unbelievable. Chandra Lancaster's leaving us. I am trying very hard to convince her otherwise, but she is. Emma Klingenpeel has been such a fantastic addition to the staff. Over the course of the year, Kendall Point left us to go pursue other opportunities. We miss her dearly, but we're so happy to have Amanda Atwell on board the crew as well. She's done fit in so well early on, or so far in her tenure. Our sales staff helps to keep these lights on,
Yeah.
which helps.
You know.
They do the important work while we get to fart around with microphones and cameras. But Rudy Klanik and Robel Melissa and Devin Lewis have done a terrific job. We have a really good boss.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Hochfelder, the president of our company, is a really, really good boss.
Grandpa.
And may we... What'd you say?
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Yeah.
May you all be blessed enough to have a boss like Adam Hochfelder. He is a genuine. Is he walking by now?
Yeah, that you
good.
can always hear
Good.
heavy feet. It's Boot
Good.
Adam.
Glad he's not hearing this. But he is fantastic, and we couldn't do it without him. Another guy that I said we lost, but he went on to other opportunities. Shahan Jayaraja, our college football insider, who's now killing it over there at CBS Sports. He's such a valued member of the team. We miss him like crazy, but at the same time, we're so thrilled for him to go on and do great things. We're so thankful for him. We're thankful for guys who contribute to what we do, like big-time contributors. Guys like Corey Hogue, our small college insider, who's so stinking good at what he does, man, and so passionate about covering small colleges. Corey Hogue, Guy Frazier, who's really helped us out on the recruiting side. Guys, good people. Follow Triple Fake Guy on Twitter. It's he's such good people. Speaking of recruiting, our recruiting analyst Greg Powers,
Grev.
just one of my favorite people.
He is our mountain.
He really is one of my favorite. I love Greg Powers. He's just such. I being around him makes me genuinely happy.
Yes.
And he knows so much about recruiting. I don't need to tell you guys that. He has been spectacular. That's one of the newer additions to our staff is Mallory Hartley, and what a gem we found with her. She
Malcolm.
is She's so wonderful and so talented and so good at what she does, and we're really lucky to have her. I'm really thankful for her. Matt Stepp, do I need to go any further? I mean, the GOAT, the king, the Texas high school football voice of record in the state of Texas. I am so proud to have him on our staff, and so thankful that he is part of our team. Also with Mike Craven, the newest member of our editorial team.
He's blowing and going, man.
He is like, I've known Mike for a while, and I finally convinced him to come work for us. But Mike is such a genuine person. What you see is what you get with Mike, and he is such a tremendous reporter, a tremendous writer, and just a good dude, and a guy who I really admire on a personal level too. And I'm just so glad that he's part of our team. Will Wilkerson almost never makes an appearance on our air. He's probably the guy on our staff probably the person I've mentioned that has appeared the least on our programming.
And that's the way he loves it.
If you want to know why this operation on the editorial side runs as smoothly as it does, it is William Wilkerson. He is the great Oz, man. He is the man behind the behind the scenes. He does such a tremendous job with our website, with TexasFootball.com, with our social media. He has really raised He is the tide that has raised all of us. He has done.
We go as Will goes.
He is so, and boy, a guy. Talk about a guy who never sleeps. That guy never sleeps.
Literally.
He is such a hard worker and such a good dude. And he puts up with Aaron Hart again. And my goodness,
there's the main one.
My goodness, how he does that. Everyone's favorite Ishmael Johnson is like another guy that I just genuinely admire personally. I like if he didn't work for us, I'd still want to hang out with Ish. The fact that he is a tremendous writer, a tremendous editor, a tremendous a thinker, just such a thoughtful
big idea guy, but also just thoughtful in the way that he thinks about things. He is. I am so proud that he's on our staff. I really am, and he's an unbelievable asset to us. And we could not do what we do without him, and I wouldn't want to. He's that important. Who would I annoy during the day?
That's exactly right.
Big thing.
Big thing.
Entertainment.
And then there's Ashley Pickle.
And this is where we shut the show off.
This job's really tough. What Pickle does is really tough. She has a lot of things in the air. She does a lot of things that are way beyond what you do. And it's not just putting up with me on this show. It is genuinely tough doing this job, and is so I know how long the hours are, and I know how difficult it can be, and I know how frustrating it can be sometimes. But she always has a smile on, and she's always ready to do what she needs to. I don't need to tell you people watching that she's a megastar, that she is unbelievable to be as good as she is at so many things at her young age is stunning, staggering, jaw-dropping, gobsmacking, use whatever word you want to use. We know how this ends. Some other company is going to come and figure this out, and they're going to throw her a ton of money and say, why don't you come work for us? And she's going to go, and I'm going to be sad for me and thrilled for her, and she will have earned everything she gets. I met her dad, Lance, at the state championship games this past week, and I pulled him aside, and I just told him, I can't imagine how proud you are of her, of your daughter, because I know that I'm proud just to be her friend and her colleague. So, Pickle, I'm very thankful for you. Anyway.
I can't turn the camera.
Merry Christmas, you
Thank
nerds.
you.
Merry Christmas. We will see you down the road. We will have a show on Monday. I won't be on it. I'm going to be sitting on my couch. But that's going to be fun. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram. Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Mark Fannin of Franklin and Craig Way for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper.
Merry Christmas.
Please meet your Player of the Year trophy. Merry Christmas. We'll see you on down the road on Texas Football Today.